guys, this is Mr. Druid, and I'm going to go over the Chapter 10 outline. So Section 1 talks about the national legislature, and we have a bicameral legislature in this country, and we split it. That bicameral means two houses, and we have the Senate and the House of Representatives. So our founding fathers did that on purpose, so we didn't get too powerful. So they did not want a all-powerful Congress. They did not want them to just have all the power in the world. So they said you are going to split that power up between the Senate and the House of Representatives. So bicameral to our founding fathers did that on purpose. Now, there is the period of 1 year that Congress meets up and they do business and they make the laws and they conduct their business. It's called a session. And so that's a 1 year time. So a session is 1 year when they do all of their stuff. So they make laws, they make the rules, they do impeachment hearings, whatever they're doing in 1 year. And 2 sessions, so 2 years, is a term of Congress. So a term of Congress is 2 sessions, so 2 years. So we'll talk more about this in our additional notes, and we'll have an activity in class together about this. So now, the House and the Senate are a little different. In the Senate, each state gets equal representation. That means each state gets 2 senators. That means Michigan gets 2, Ohio, Georgia, every state gets 2. However, that isn't the same for the House of Representatives. The members of the House are determined by population. So each state will get a different amount of representatives based on the size of their state. Bigger states get more, and smaller states get less. In Section 2, we talk about the terms and the size, about everything about the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives has 435 elected members, and they each serve 2-year terms. So they serve for 2 years, and they're always up at the same time, all the representatives at the same time. And this is every 2 years. And the last one was in 2020. So that was the last time. So we just had this. But for every 2 years, they're all up. 435 members are up for re-election. And again, the more people that live in a state, they send more representatives in that state. So like California has 53 representatives because they have a much bigger population compared to, let's say, Alaska, which only has a few thousand people. So they have 1 representative in Congress. So it all depends on the size of your state. So the bigger you are, the more people you got, the more representatives you have. Now, this is determined by the census. So every year, every 10 years, Congress, they relook at the populations in each state, and the population of each state is determined by the census. And that we just had one in 2020. And they go and they say, oh, okay, so Michigan lost a few thousand people. Well, that put us into the guideline. Oh, well, they lose a seat in the Senate, in the House, because they lost population. But Ohio gained a population, so they're going to gain 1 representative. So they relook at it every 10 years. So every 10 years, the number of representatives will either increase in a state, decrease in a state, or stay the same if nothing really changed. So a lot of times it will go down. Last time we lost some members, and in the future we might lose some, but we might gain some. It all depends, and it's determined by the census. We'll discuss more about the census and stuff in the additional notes and in class, but just know the census determines the population, and then the Census Bureau decides what each state gets from there. Now, a district, each House of Representative, each elected member has a district in their state. So it all depends on how many representatives you have. So in Michigan, we have 14 districts. So we have 14 members, so that means we have 14 districts. So a district one district per representative, and then they get assigned to it, and the district lines are drawn by each state. Now, sometimes those drawing of lines for the districts, they're supposed to be fair, they're supposed to be even, they're supposed to represent the people who live there evenly, but sometimes it's drawn unfair to favor one party over the others. For like an example, both parties do it, but let's say the Democratic Party, they draw lines to where, oh, we'll get more, there's more people that are Democratic that vote here, so we know we'll get more votes if we draw our lines in a certain way. And it gives them a better chance of getting representatives in Congress, in the House of Representatives, and it's an unfair drawing of lines. Both parties do it, but we'll cover more about gerrymandering in class and in our additional notes. Now, to be a member of the House of Representatives, you just have to really be 25 years or older, so at least 25 years old, and you have to have lived in the United States for 7 years and be a resident of the state you're running for. So you have to be a resident of the state, and you have to have lived in the United States for 7 years. That's it. That's all you have to do. In section 3, we talk about the Senate. And remember, we have 2 senators per state. 2 times 50 is 100. So we have 100 senators in the Senate today. And unlike the House of Representatives, they serve longer terms. They serve 6-year terms, not 2-year terms. So they serve 6 years. So they're in session a lot longer. And they're in session so long, not everyone is up for re-election at the same time. Only 1/3 of Congress is up for election at any given time. So that means they're always kind of in session. They're never really stopping. Like the House of Representatives have to stop because all 435 are up for re-election at a time. But only about 33 senators are up for re-election at any given time. So they're kind of always in session. They're always doing something. Now, senators, the only real qualifications they have to be at least 30 years old, so that they be a little older than the House of Representatives, and they have to be a citizen of the United States for at least 9 years. So they have to have lived in the United States for 9 years. And again, they have to be a member of their state. I can't just try to be a senator. I'm living in Michigan and try to be for Ohio. No, I would have to run for a Michigan senator seat if that's what I was doing. Now, in section 4, we talk about a few things about the members of Congress. Most members of Congress, they're born in the state that they represent. So odds are I would run for a Michigan spot in the Congress, like a House of Representative or a senator, because, well, that's where I live and that's where I grew up and that's where I am from. Now, I could, if I moved to Ohio, be a representative there, but odds are I'm going to be born and raised in the state that I'm representing. And usually, members of Congress, they have many years of political experience. They're not really new to it. They're well experienced. Yes, there's always going to be new members that are less experienced, but they usually have some type of political background. Now we're going to discuss the jobs in the additional notes, but know that members of Congress cast their votes in 4 ways, and they're delegates, trustees, partisans, and politicos. But we'll talk more about this in our additional notes for sure. And lastly, benefits. There's a lot of benefits to being a member of Congress, but some of these benefits include some tax deductions. They get travel allowances, so they get paid to travel. They get compensated for it. They get awesome medical care, and they also have the franking privilege. That it means that they can send mail for free just by signing their name, where they would put postage, where they would put a stamp. They just need to sign their name. And the only exception to that is that it can't be for campaigns. So if they're running for office again, they can't do that. But other than that, they get to send mail for free, which is a cool privilege. I know I went through that kind of fast, but I wanted to just give you the answers to this and give you a little explanation. So I'm going to end the video. If you have any questions, please message me. Thank you and have a wonderful day.